Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. So today I am going to be sharing with you this card. It features the beautiful Tea Time set from Altenew, and we're going to create some really great dimension, but it's not going to add any bulk to the card when you are sending it. So to start with, I am going to be using the Tea Time stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping these onto a piece of watercolor cardstock with my Altenew Obsidian black ink. This is a really great ink for watercoloring as it doesn't bleed and it's a really great black. It's really dark. So I'm stamping this onto the Altenew watercolor cardstock, the one that's sized 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to stamp a lot of these little images from the set. I didn't actually use all of them in the finished card. I have 3 left over, but I'm just going to stamp as many as I think. So I have the little cups, I have the little plate with the cake, and also the other little things there. So I wanted to create a different blue than I have in the Altenew Essential watercolor set. So there's 12 different colors in here, but you can mix them all together to create the ones that you want. So I've created a more of a china blue with the lagoon color and also the Persian blue. So I'm going to go ahead and watercolor these images. So to start with, I am adding a little bit of clear water to the image that I want to color. Then I am going to add in the color, just a light shading of it. I'm then going to drop in a more concentrated color, the same color, around the edges and the bottom of the images. So that's going to give me a shadow, and it's going to give me a highlight in the center of the image. So this is the way that I do like to watercolor. So again, first with the water, then a really light color, and then the more of the color around the edge. So for the cake, I wanted more of a cake color. So I've added the brown that's in the set with a little bit of that warm sunshine color there. And as before, I'm adding water down first, a little bit of that browny color, and then more of the brown color towards the edge where I think it would be darker. For the inside of these cups, you want to create a more of a darker shade. So I'm adding the color in first, and then adding that darker shade to just where the rim is overlooking the cup. So it's going to give us a really great shadow effect there. For these plates, I'm just going to do these really light blue, and I'm then going to just dab in color here and there to give me a shaded look. We will add some more shading later on in the video. So I'm just going to keep going with that. And I missed out this little cup. So again, as before, I'm just going to do what I did. Clear water, a little bit of the blue, and then some more of that darker blue around the outside edges. Once I've finished with all of the blue colouring, I'm then going to move on to a little bit of grey. So to create the grey, all I'm going to do is I am going to use the jet black from the watercolour set that I'm using, and I'm just going to add a lot of water to this just to create a grey shade. And for this, I kind of wanted it to be a white colour, so I'm just leaving the rest of it white and just adding the beautiful grey that we've just created around the outside edges of this. So I've just added the clear water and then some of that grey just to the edges to give me an effect that it is in fact white, but it has that shadow around the outside. The spoon itself is going to be grey, so I'm just going to go straight in with that. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more colour to the top of this teapot that I forgot, and also this little kettle image that we have as well. So I'm just going to add that in stripes just to add all the colours together. We're only using some blues, some greys, and a little bit of that brown cake colour there. So once I have finished with this, I did want to add a little bit more shading to the white just to give me a greater effect there. Once I have finished with that, I'm then going to add in a little bit more shading. But first, I have waited for it to dry, so it's nice and dry now. And I'm just going to add in some more shading just with some pencil colours. I'm really adding some really simple shading, so just around the edges where I want it to be darker. I'm not going over the whole image, and I'm just doing it really light just to give me the effect, but I still want that watercolour look that we have. So for the pieces that I want white, I have used a light grey coloured pencil even, and then I've used a brown for the little cake pieces, and then a beautiful blue just to add shading where I want to on the blues. So as before, I'm just adding this where I've added the darker colour with the watercolours. I'm then going to use the dies from the Tea Time set. I'm just placing these around the images and then adding a little bit of washi tape to keep them in place while I run that through my little mini blossom machine. And here are all the pieces that I have now. I'm then going to take a piece of cardstock, so this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to score this at the 1/2 inch, the inch, the 4 1/2 inches, and the 5. So once that has been scored, I can then just fold these edges over and just burnish those to give me a really crisp fold with my bone folder. Now you can use your nail if you wanted to do this and you don't have a bone folder, but I do find it's easier to do it this way. So once I have that, I kind of have like a little pocket, and this is 3 1/2 inches across now. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to trim a piece of card that's going to be the length, so 5 1/2 by that measurement that we've just created for the pocket, just so this fits snugly into it. I'm then going to arrange my little images. Reason being, I need to stamp my sentiment before I pop this into place. So I'm going to go with this one here so it can kind of hug the images that we're going to place on this little layer here. So again, as before, I'm going to be using my Obsidian Black. It's a really great ink for sentiments as it's so crisp and it gives really great detail. Now these little cups I wanted to stack. Now they don't fit within each other, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a craft knife and I'm just going to cut a little line there, just at the top of the rim of the first cup. So I'm going to pop that into place so you can see that we have that little hole there, and I can then grab this cup and snugly fit it in. It may take a little bit of a wiggle, but I do think that that looks much better than just placing it one on top of each other. Once I have done that, I'm then going to place my little pocket into place onto that little panel, just to give me a guideline of where these images need to sit. Now I want them to sit just below that little line that we have there. Reason being, as it wants to look like a whole array of little images that we're going to have, and we want that dimension. Now for the ones on the front, you're only going to want to add the tape to the place where it's going to be sitting on that lip. If you pop any more adhesive above that little kettle, it is going to stick the images together, the layers together, sorry, and that's not what I wanted. So once I have all my little images adhered into place, I can then add this pocket into place for real. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive tape to the back edges. These are the ones that are kind of like the hinges, and I'm just going to pop that into place to create my little pocket front there. Now when I place this onto a card base, it is a little slightly bit small, so I'm just going to cut a piece of cardstock. This is from the Essential Rock collection, and I'm just going to trim that down just so it fits on the edge. And when you can see, when we fold this down to the side, it's then going to lie nice and flat. So I'm going to adhere this into place now, and you can see it's going to fit into your envelope perfectly, because even though the dimension is there when the little pocket is out, when you place it down nice and flat, it can then fit into your envelope with no bulk whatsoever. So everyone, I really do hope that you like the card and that you like the technique involved. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it'd be great if you do share, because I'd love to see. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and if you do want to watch a couple more videos, we do have a couple more here for you to watch at your own leisure. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.